God likes to play hide and seek, but because there is nothing outside of God, he has no one but himself to play with. Are you tired of feeling like a small, insignificant fragment in a vast, indifferent universe? What if your anxiety, your struggles, and even your name are all part of a magnificent cosmic drama that you scripted? In this deep dive exploration of Alan Watts's most profound concept, the cosmic hide and seek, we challenge the taboo against knowing your true identity. We move beyond the skin-encapsulated ego to find the actor who wears the mask of me. It's time to stop taking the role so seriously and start playing the game with sincerity. Most of us spend our lives feeling like a biological accident, a tiny flash of consciousness that arrived late to a party in a vast, cold, and indifferent universe. We struggle with the nagging suspicion that we are insignificant, mere passengers on a spinning rock destined for oblivion. Now, let us explore the profound wisdom that lies not in adding, but in letting go. In the ordinary world of our daily existence, we are haunted by a singular, persistent dread, the fear that we are separate. We feel like isolated egos, trapped inside bags of skin, forced to navigate a world that is not us. This sensation of being an outsider looking in is the primary ailment of the modern mind. We look at the stars and feel small. We look at the crowds and feel lonely. We look at the march of time and feel threatened. This is the tragedy of the forgotten mask, a state where the actor has become so engrossed in the role that they have forgotten they are even in a theater. Alan Watts suggested that our current sense of identity is not a biological fact, but a social hallucination. From the moment we are born, we are conditioned by a society that is terrified of the it, the total, underlying energy of the universe. We are taught to be someone, to have a personality, to build a reputation. We are given a name and a social security number, and we are told, "This is you. This little fragment of history and desire is all you are." This conditioning creates a profound taboo. It is the taboo against knowing who you really are. To society, you must remain a controlled individual, because a person who knows they are the entire cosmic process is very difficult to govern. Such a person does not fear death, does not crave status, and cannot be easily sold a bridge to a better tomorrow. And so, we live in a world of pretend. We pretend that we are just these fragile, skin-encapsulated egos, and we play the game so well that we eventually scare ourselves to death. Think about the word person. It comes from the Latin persona, which originally referred to the masks worn by actors in Greco-Roman theater. The mask was not meant to hide the actor, it was meant to sound through. Per sonare, the voice of the actor. In our modern world, we have become the mask. We have identified so strongly with our social roles as workers, parents, citizens, and successful people that we have lost touch with the actor who wears the mask. We are like people who go to the cinema and become so caught up in the tragedy on screen that they forget they are sitting safely in a chair watching a play of light. This identification with the mask is the source of our hero's struggle. We feel we must win at life. We must secure our future. We must leave a mark on the world. But if you are just a temporary accident in a dead universe, why does it matter? The modern scientific worldview tells us that the universe is a collection of stuff, atoms, rocks, gases, and that life is a lucky fluke that happened in a corner of space. In this view, you are a fluke in a machine. This creates a deep existential shiver. We feel like we are in the world, but not of it. We feel like we are victims of circumstances, waiting for the clock to run out. But let us pause and look at this accident differently. If you go into a forest, you don't see accidents. You see leaves, trees, birds, and insects. They don't look like they are trying to be there. They are just doing the forest. The forest trees just as much as the ocean waves. and the universe peoples. You are as much a natural phenomenon as a star or a galaxy. You didn't come into this world, you came out of it, in the same way that a leaf comes out of a tree. Why then do we feel like visitors? It is because we have been tricked by the game of selective attention. We focus on the I and ignore the everything else. We focus on the mask and ignore the head beneath it. This is the setup for the cosmic hide and seek. Imagine for a moment that you are the total energy of the universe. You are the Godhead, the Brahman, or whatever name you wish to give the infinite source. If you were everything, always and everywhere, you would eventually get bored. There would be no surprise, no adventure, no other. To make things interesting, you decide to play a game. You decide to hide from yourself. You decide to pretend that you are not the infinite source. You fragment yourself into trillions of little pieces: birds, rocks, stars, and people. You hide inside a human being named John or Mary. To make the game truly real, you must make yourself forget that you are pretending. You must throw yourself so deeply into the role of being a struggling, anxious, and limited human being that you actually believe it. This is the ordinary world of our hero. We are currently in the stage where we have forgotten we are playing. We are hiding so well that we have lost the seek. We take our problems with a desperate seriousness. We treat our anxiety as if it were a fatal flaw in the fabric of reality. We treat our self as if it were a fragile glass vase that could shatter at any moment. This seriousness is the tragedy. We have lost the wit of existence. We have become a self that is too heavy to carry. The itch you feel, that subtle dissatisfaction, the feeling that there must be more to this, is actually the beginning of the seek. It is the universe starting to wake up inside you. It is the realization that the skin-encapsulated ego is too small a container for what you really are. You are trying to fit the infinite ocean into a tiny thimble, and the thimble is cracking. Society tells you that the answer to your anxiety is to get a better thimble. Get more money, more fame, more security, more spirituality. But these are just more layers of the mask. They are more hiding. The true first aid is not to find a better way to hide, but to begin the process of unmasking. We must address the taboo. We must look directly at the monster of our own insignificance and discover that it is actually a gateway to the infinite. Most of our modern stress is the result of a false start. We start with the premise that I am a lonely fragment, and then we try to solve the problems of a lonely fragment. But if the premise is wrong, the solutions will always fail. You cannot solve the problem of separation by trying to join things together through effort. You solve it by realizing that the separation never existed in the first place. The indifferent universe is a myth. The biological accident is a myth. These are just the rules of the game we chose to play to make the drama more intense. Just as a thriller movie is more exciting if the hero is in real danger, the game of life is more exciting if we believe we can truly lose. But who is the hero? And who is the villain? And who is the audience? In the philosophy of Alan Watts, they are all the same person. You are the it playing all the parts. You are the Big Bang that happened 14 billion years ago, and you are still big banging right now as you listen to these words. You are not a result of the explosion. You are the explosion itself, currently taking the form of a person sitting in a chair. As we prepare to move into the second act of our journey, we must sit with this uncomfortable, exhilarating possibility that you are not who you think you are. That the you have been trying to protect and improve is merely a character in a cosmic drama. The anxiety you feel is not a sign that you are failing at the game. It is a sign that you are playing it so well that you have completely fooled yourself. The mentor's voice calls us out of the fortress of the ego. It invites us to look at the background of our lives. We have been so focused on the words that we have forgotten the paper. We have been so focused on the melody that we have forgotten the silence. But it is the paper that allows the words to be seen, and the silence that allows the music to be heard. We are entering the meeting with the mentor, where we will deconstruct the mechanics of this divine game. We will explore how Lila, the divine play, operates, and why the universe needs you to feel limited so that it can feel alive. We are moving from the tragedy to the comedy, not the comedy of jokes, but the comedy of the divine surprise. The journey ahead requires you to be willing to be nobody, because only when you are nobody can you realize that you are the works. The ordinary world is crumbling, and the special world of cosmic recognition is waiting. Do not be afraid of the nothingness you see when you look for your ego. That nothingness is not a vacuum. It is the clear light of the source. It is the it that is playing hide and seek. And the game is about to get very, very interesting. We have stepped through the gateway, leaving the ordinary world where you were merely a victim of circumstances, and entering the laboratory of the cosmic mind. This is the second act of our journey, the stage of trials, encounters with the mentor, and the dismantling of the greatest secret ever kept from you. To understand why you feel so limited, we must explore the mechanics of Lila, the divine game of pretending. Imagine for a moment that you have the power to dream any dream you want. When you go to sleep tonight, you could dream 100 years of life in a single night. You could have any pleasure you desire, any wealth, any power. Naturally, for the first few nights, you would fulfill every fantasy. You would be a king, a conqueror, a master of the world. You would live in palaces and be surrounded by love and luxury. But after a few weeks of this, you would start to get a little bored. You would say to yourself, well, this is fine, but it's too predictable. I know I'm dreaming. I want a surprise. So you would start to introduce random elements. You would dream of adventures where you don't know the outcome, where there is some danger, some struggle. You would dream of being a hero who has to overcome a great challenge. And as the nights go on, you would get more and more daring. You would say, I want to dream a dream where I don't know I'm dreaming. You would want to get so lost in the story that you truly believe the stakes are real. You would dream of being a simple human being with limited knowledge, facing a world of uncertainty. Eventually, you would dream the dream that you are living right now. You would dream of being you, sitting here, feeling a bit anxious, wondering about the meaning of life, and listening to this very narration. This is the core of the cosmic hide and seek. You are the Godhead, the total energy of the universe, currently dreaming that you are a limited, skin-encapsulated ego. And the trial of this journey is to see if you can wake up within the dream without ending the game. The mentor's voice explains that the universe is not a machine created by an external architect. That is a Western monarchical model of God, a king who rules over his subjects from a throne. In the Eastern tradition that Watts brought to the West, the universe is more like an organism or a drama. It is a Lila, a Sanskrit word meaning play. It is the divine energy playing hide and seek with itself. Why? Because the alternative is static, boring perfection. If you were God and you knew everything that was ever going to happen, you would be stuck. There would be no event. For an event to happen, there must be not knowing. For music to happen, there must be silence between the notes. For light to be seen, there must be the darkness of space. The universe hides its totality in the fragments so that it can experience the thrill of finding itself. You are the hide part of the game. Your anxiety, your feeling of being a lonely fragment, is the very thing that makes the game exciting. But our modern culture has made a mistake. We have taken the hide too seriously. We have built a taboo around the seek. We are taught that to even suggest that I am God or I am the universe is either insanity or blasphemy. So we stay hidden for too long. We become like a person who plays a game of hide and seek and gets so lost that they start to cry because they think they've been abandoned. We have forgotten that we are the ones who chose to hide in the first place. This is the meeting with the mentor. The mentor points out that your limitations are actually definitions. If you were everything, you would be nothing in particular. To be someone, to be you, you must have a boundary. You must have things you can do and things you cannot do. A sculptor creates a statue not by adding clay, but by taking it away. The limits of the stone are what create the beauty of the form. Your life is a work of art created by the Godhead through the process of limitation. The struggle we feel is the friction of resisting our own form. We want to be infinite, but we are finite. We want to be eternal, but we are temporary. But look at the logic of polarity again. You cannot have finite without infinite. They are two ends of the same stick. Your finiteness is the way the infinite expresses itself. When you realize this, the struggle changes. You stop trying to escape your limitations and start playing with them. In this stage of the journey, we encounter the illusion of the ego. We have been raised to believe that the ego is the controller of our lives. We think we are drivers of our bodies. But if you look at your biological functions, you realize that you, the ego, don't know how to grow your hair, how to digest your food, or how to create a white blood cell. Your body is doing it, and your body is a process of the whole universe. The ego is just a social convention, a useful fiction like the equator or a line of longitude. You can't trip over the equator, and you can't find the ego in a brain scan. Watts used the metaphor of a hologram. In a hologram, if you break the plate into 1,000 pieces, each tiny piece still contains the whole image, just from a slightly different perspective. You are a piece of the cosmic hologram. You are the whole thing looking through a specific angle. When you die, the angle disappears, but the image remains. This realization brings us to the trial of the social mask. Society insists that you be a consistent person. You must have the same name, the same personality, and the same history every day. This is the mask we spoke of. But the universe is not consistent in that way. It is wiggly. It is a flow. When we try to force our wiggly nature into square social boxes, we experience the stress of the encapsulated self. We are trying to be nouns in a universe that is entirely made of verbs. The mentor invites us to see through the taboo of knowing. The taboo is there to keep the game honest. If everyone knew they were God, no one would take the role of the suffering hero or the diligent worker seriously. The seriousness is what gives the drama its weight. But you have reached a point in your journey where the seriousness has become toxic. You are no longer playing the role is playing you. To seek is to realize that the back of your head is the back of the universe. The consciousness that is looking out of your eyes right now is the same consciousness that is looking out of the eyes of a cat, a bird, and your enemy. It is the one eye of the cosmos playing trillions of roles. This is why you feel a connection to nature, because nature is your own external body. Why then is there suffering and evil in this game? This is the most difficult trial for the hero. If the universe is a game of hide and seek, played by a divine source, why is it so painful? Watts explains that for a game to be worth playing, the stakes must feel real. If you play cards and there is no risk of losing, the game is boring. The shadow, the pain, the grief, the death, is the resistance that makes the light meaningful. Think of a great tragedy in the theater. You go to see Hamlet or King Lear. You see people dying, crying, and suffering on stage. And when the curtain falls, you stand up and applaud. Why? Because the performance of suffering was beautiful. The actors go backstage, take off their makeup, and go out for a drink together. In the cosmic theater, we are the actors who have forgotten we are acting. We are so committed to the tragedy that we forget to applaud. The aha moment comes when you realize that you, the ego, don't have to solve the universe. You don't have to make things happen. You are what is happening. This is the transition from force to grace. You stop trying to push the river and start rowing with it. You realize that your anxiety was caused by the belief that you were a pilot who had lost control of the plane. But the truth is, there is no pilot. The plane is flying itself, and you are the flight. As the hero moves through these realizations, they experience a dissolution of the wall. The skin-encapsulated prison begins to feel like a permeable membrane. You realize that the outside is just as much you as the inside. The air you breathe is your external lung. The sun is your external heart. The soil is your external stomach. You are a transaction with the environment. This isn't just an intellectual idea. It is a shift in sensation. You begin to feel the total process. You start to see that your life is not something that began at your birth and will end at your death. Life is a continuous vibration that has been going on for billions of years, and you are just the current peak of the wave. When this wave crashes on the shore, the water doesn't disappear. It just waits for the next wind to create the next wave. The desire for this cosmic freedom becomes your guiding star. You start to see the playfulness in every situation. Even in your worries, you see a bit of divine pretending. You say to yourself, "Ah, here is the Godhead pretending to be worried about a bank account. How clever, how convincing." This divine wit is the ultimate suku trithak. It doesn't take away the worry, but it takes away the weight of the worry. You can be worried without being worried about being worried. We are approaching the supreme identity. This is the secret that the book aims to reveal. The secret is that there is no self, and there is no God as separate things. There is only the wholeness, the Brahman, which is currently doing you. You are a doing of the universe, like a song is a doing of a singer. The trial of the ego is its final attempt to stay separate. It will try to turn these insights into a spiritual achievement. It will say, "Look at me, I'm so enlightened. I'm the universe." But that is just another mask. The true realization is silent. It is a letting go of the need to be anything in particular. It is the peace of being nothing, because when you are nothing, you have room to be everything. As we move toward the final part of our journey, we prepare to return to the world of many things. We have met the mentor, we have seen through the mask, and we have understood the mechanics of the Lila. Now we must take this victory back to our daily lives. We must learn to play the game of being a person without being fooled by it again. We are ready to wake up from the dream, not by leaving the dream, but by realizing that we are the dreamer. The cosmic laugh is waiting. It is the laugh of the person who has been looking for their glasses all over the house, only to realize they were on their nose the whole time. You have been looking for the truth, for security, and for God, only to realize that the seeker is the sought. The hero returns now to the shores of the ordinary world, but we do not return as the same frightened fragment who left. The victory we carry, the elixir of this journey, is the cosmic laugh. It is the laughter of someone who has spent a lifetime searching for their home, only to realize they never left it. It is the deep, belly-shaking wit of the universe, recognizing itself behind the mask of a human being. We return to our jobs, our families, and our bills, but the weight of high seriousness has been replaced by the lightness of sincerity. The most immediate first aid for your anxiety is to understand the difference between being serious and being sincere. Most of us are taught that life is a serious matter. To be serious is to be grim, to be heavy, to believe that if we fail, the universe itself has failed. But the Godhead is not serious. The universe is sincere. Think of a musician playing a difficult piece of music. They are totally sincere. They are giving it everything they have. But they are not serious in the sense of being fearful or grim because they know it is a performance. They are playing. When you return to your life with this insight, you stop being a victim of your circumstances and start being an actor in your drama. When you are stuck in traffic or facing a difficult deadline or dealing with a conflict, you can say to yourself, here is the hide and seek again. Here is the universe pretending to be a person in a hurry. This doesn't mean you stop trying. It means you stop worrying about the trying. You act with total sincerity, but with a secret smile, knowing that the outcome is just another part of the play. The victory of the hero is the end of existential anxiety. Anxiety is the result of the belief that I am a fragile island that must be protected against a hostile ocean. But once you have seen that you are the ocean, the protection becomes unnecessary. You realize that security is a myth because there is nothing to lose. You cannot lose yourself because your true self is the entire process. When the body dies, the energy continues. When the ego dissolves, the actor remains. Death, in this view, is simply the moment you take off the you mask to see what other masks are in the cosmic dressing room. This realization transforms how we treat others. When you realize that the consciousness looking out of the eyes of the person you dislike is the same consciousness looking out of your own, your hatred loses its foundation. You see that they are just another version of the game. They are hiding in a different way than you are. This leads to a deep, unsentimental compassion, not because you should be nice, but because you recognize yourself in every face you meet. You realize that the stranger is just you in a different costume. How do we practice this in the real world? Alan Watts suggested the "wait, who is watching" experiment. Next time you feel a wave of anxiety or a cloud of overthinking, don't try to push it away. Instead, watch the thought as it arises. Then ask yourself, who is the one watching the thought? You will find that the watcher has no name, no shape, and no history. The watcher is just a clear, open space. That space is the Godhead. That space is the silent background of the hide and seek. By simply identifying with the space rather than the thought, you find an immediate, cool stillness in the middle of the storm. We also learn to embrace the beauty of the wiggly. Our modern world is obsessed with squares, with boxes, schedules, and rigid logic. But nature is wiggly. Clouds, mountains, and trees do not follow straight lines. Your life is wiggly. Your emotions are wiggly. The ego tries to make everything square and predictable, and that is where the suffering begins. The hero who has returned from the special world allows life to be wiggly. You stop trying to force the river into a straight canal and learn to enjoy the curves of the stream. The taboo against knowing who you are is finally lifted, but you discover a final, beautiful irony. It is okay to keep pretending. You don't have to go around telling everyone you are the universe. In fact, it's much more fun to keep playing the role of John or Mary. The difference is that now you know it's a role. You are like a professional actor who knows they are playing Hamlet. You can cry real tears on stage. You can feel real fear. But in the back of your mind, you know that when the curtain falls, you will go out for dinner with the rest of the cast. This divine wit allows you to live with a courage that the skin-encapsulated ego can never know. You can take risks, you can love deeply, and you can be vulnerable because you know that you, the underlying reality, are indestructible. The victory is the ability to be all in on the game of life while simultaneously being all out in your realization of the source. We conclude our journey by recognizing that the hide and seek is eternal. The universe will continue to hide, and it will continue to find itself. You are a crucial part of that rhythm. You are the it that is currently peopling. Every time you look at a sunset and feel a sense of wonder, that is the universe saying, "Aha, found me." Every time you feel a sense of deep peace in the middle of chaos, that is the actor winking at the mask. The ordinary world is no longer a place of struggle, it is a playground. The first aid is complete. Your mind is no longer a prison of overthinking, but a tool for creative play. You are no longer a stranger in a strange land, but the master of the house who has decided to play a game of being a guest. The cosmic laugh is the sound of the door opening. You are free to come and go as you please. You are free to be you because you know that you are the works. The search is over, not because you found a destination, but because you realize that the journey was the point all along. Go forth now and play your part with everything you've got. Be the most sincere you that you can be, but never, ever forget the secret. You are the one who is doing the whole thing. The cosmic hide and seek is the ultimate resolution to our existential dread. By realizing that our individual lives are the Lila, or play, of a single universal consciousness, we are liberated from the need for absolute security. We find that our problems are the drama of the soul, and that our true identity is the infinite source, eternally hiding and finding itself in a dance of joy.